by Deputy Mayor Stover. Moved by Deputy Mayor Stover, second by Councillor Ainsworth. All in favor? Motion's carried. We're going on to item 13.1, the 2025 fee and charge update. Is recommended.
Hold on, there's one more in there, Public Works. The Public Works is the one that was added.
Oh, yeah, okay,
My apologies for that too.
okay. Next, we're going to CAO report 2024-21. And it's regarding the winter sidewalk operations. Can I get a mover and a seconder to put this on the table? Moved by Councillor Booth, seconded by. Did you second? I'm sorry, Deputy Mayor. Second by Deputy Mayor Stover. Any, Dave, do you want to take us through it? Or is there any questions from anyone? Go ahead, Councillor Booth.
Through your worship, it's a good idea to save this money. I guess just two questions, and maybe they're to Aaron or maybe even Dave, is because we talked about future development with the Glens of Antrim and doing stuff like that, is it possible to take some money out of development charges? You mentioned, Aaron, that we're looking at ways of how we can spend the development stuff, and I believe other municipalities in the past, when they've hired snowplows for sidewalks and stuff like that, that's because of progress, and we can take some money out of development charges for it.
Whoa. Ms. Andrus, please answer the question.
We cannot, for this particular unit, after going over our development charges, we have found that no growth was actually predicted for our current development charges, as there was only an update done in 2023. And you will see that coming forward in 2025, we redo our full development charges. As for right now, it is missing some key legislation that actually will support the planning studies as well, that we can use for the going forward.
Thank you. One follow-up?
Yeah, and just the second question was, where are we getting the money? Then it doesn't say on the report, is it coming out of reserves? Is it coming out of, because this piece of equipment wasn't originally on the fleet schedule.
We were able to save some money in our capital funding, and this will come out of vehicle capital funding.
Thank you. Any other questions? Mayor Calford?
What year is this? What year is the Kubota?
2020.
Any other questions? Comments? Go ahead. Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Through your Mayor Lobo. So it looks to me like it's a lawnmower that can have a plow on the front of it, is it?
Go ahead, Gail.
It's considered a front mount mower unit, but it's a commercial grade. And although it does come with the mower, it has a snow blade that it does come with. And so the way that this unit works, it actually looks like it drives backwards. The cab is actually over top of the equipment that you're using on it. And it is four-wheel drive and it is diesel.
Last question.
Yeah, and I forgot to make this comment, and maybe it's to you, your worship, today, the CAO is,
Age. Don't worry about us. You're getting old.
and I had it right on the tip of my tongue there. It was, oh, I know what it was. And I spoke to somebody in another municipality. Right now, I don't believe we have a bylaw on the books that states that if a sidewalk's in front of somebody's house, that they're responsible for clearing it. Should we be looking in the future with all the new developments coming, that I don't think we as a municipality want to get stuck with doing everybody's sidewalk. I lived in Ajax for 35 years and had to go out and shovel your own walk. If it's because we mentioned about the Glens of Antrim stuff, they don't have sidewalks there, but we would be responsible for the sidewalk from the school going all the way down. But I don't want to, with all the new subdivisions coming in, that if we don't protect ourselves, we're gonna end up doing hundreds of kilometers of sidewalks, right, that we shouldn't be doing.
I don't think we're gonna be able to answer that right now. I will make a quick comment. The one that's on the north, up in the hill,
Yeah.
that is all wide roads. And so there will be no sidewalks going in there. Okay,
And that's the same as Glenn's Answer. It's a
exactly the
wider
same,
road, so
exactly the same, and that's why we did it. So that we would not have to pay snow plowing on driveways. I don't know if you can stop, I'll make a quick comment, I don't know if you can change it now that they've been doing it for years and years, but maybe with new ones you can. Okay, go ahead. Deputy Mayor?
Through you, Mayor Lobo, it has to do with the sidewalk operations. And this is over to our Chief Administrative Officer, but who is gonna be operating this unit? Is this somebody that would be already on site? Because I do know how it was done in the past. And they would be done Saturdays, Sundays, and maybe at night, different times if it was an ice storm or whatever. So I just wondered maybe that's getting off topic a bit, but I just wondered who'd operate it.
You have a comment on that, CAO?
For you, Mayor, to Deputy Mayor Stover. So, first of all, Councilor Booth's question, we do have a sidewalk bylaw. We do have a bylaw that states when they need to be cleared, et cetera, how many hours after a storm, so. So the second part, which is specific to your question. Yes, we have public works staff that will be doing this. We have on-call staff. And that are contracted and that will be filling in for this.
All in favor? That motion is carried. Now we'll go to the fee and charges bylaw charges update for November 12th, 2024. That a bylaw be brought forward for consideration to authorize the implementation of fees and charges for 2025. Can I get a move in a seconder? Moved by Councilor Ainsworth, second by Deputy Mayor Stover. Who's gonna, you're gonna take us through this, Dave?
No,
Oh, Aaron is, okay. Please go ahead.
So as with the public notice, this was something that has been in the works to update all our fees and charges for the municipality. Manager went through their corresponding departments and the updates that they felt feasible for each. So bigger changes will be under review. And there were a little bit of changes that were done before our current Parks and Rec manager. So he has updated them as for now to go through. We have separated them so that they each have their own separate schedules now, so that we can bring them forward with them and not be a new file kind of on the change.
I have a question. When was the last time it was reviewed?
I believe it, the last bylaw was 2022.
Thank you. And normally we should do it every year. Thank you. Any questions or comments? Go ahead, Councilor O'Neill.
Just in the recreation rental facilities, there was some discussion that's been going on now for many years about higher fees for alcohol if you have an alcohol license. And I just didn't know if that was something, we've got a new person there who may not be aware of.
Go ahead.
I think to into this as well as also have.
Okay, because I didn't see.
Any other questions? Go ahead, Councilor Ainsworth.
For you, Mary. That's what you missed it, but I didn't see anything that came to our bills. There's not a separate bylaw for procurement. So when somebody bringing in a landfill, say if someone's, doing things on their property that's not zoned properly. We're going to.
no. I can update council on the fill bylaw, so our bylaw team has reviewed it. And it, has some notes in it and it's now before legal. Before it'll come back to council. It'll come back to the clerk for review and then addition to an agenda list. So there, the fees associated with the fill permit, et cetera, are within that bylaw. The bylaw is being reviewed by legal at this point, because it is, it's significant. I guess I could say that. The township needs to be well prepared for any fill that may come in the future or any, changes with respect to property, et cetera. So.
Should the council approve, this said bylaw? And there's a change in, I guess there's no charge now. Can we, update that at any time during the year? Can we update that any time during the year, the bylaw?
Yes, bylaw can be updated, but I believe this is a separate.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, sorry, Mike, go ahead.
So back to the issues that we've had sometimes people using their property for what's not being titled used for. Would that be part of this year? The fees and charges part. So if someone was doing something on their property that it isn't done for. That's not part of this one, or is that another separate?
Go ahead, CEO.
Through you, Mayor, Councilor, no, that's with respect to the Planning Act. So that's with respect to the Planning Act. The document for fees and charges is specific to what's in that document. And the property with respect to zoning and what's allowed on a certain property is governed under the Planning Act. There's provisions to deal with it.
So are we going to be covering that also? I know we talked about.
So the Planning Act is created on its own. We don't govern the Planning Act at all. But the fines and charges are already set within the planning.
Thank you. Any further questions? All in favor? That motion's carried. Next we have the 13.2. Which is the FIN 2024-08 September 2024 Q3 financial reporting. The council received report FIN 2024-08 September 2024 Q3 financial reporting for information. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Deputy Mayor Stover, seconded by Councilor Booth. I'd like to make a couple comments on this before we get going. Appreciate the work that you did putting through this report. And however, Dave and I talked about it yesterday, and I just don't feel there's enough information on there. It's confusing too. I found it. So I'm hoping that you're going to be able to improve that. Dave agreed that it does not provide enough information for members of council to properly look at or properly understand. And I think that was about it. Oh, no, that wasn't true. We also looked at some other financial statements that are in other municipalities, and they have more details, and Dave saw them as well. And I don't know if we can implement them, but that's what we eventually need. Do you have a comment, Dave?
Sure do. So I had a quick few minutes to talk to Aaron this morning before heading up to Centerton, and Aaron knows as well, as I do, that what we're looking at the we're trying to hold it. We hired to know that every specific detailed account is not what you need, but you definitely need to see and get a feel for the overall business of the township. So it is something that Aaron and I are working on. When it comes to Keystone, we were also reached out to, or I guess it's going to be tomorrow now, reaching out to some representatives to Keystone to see how we can build this report to provide you the right information that you need. Typically, when you build an account program like that, you would a lot of the detailed accounts should be sub-accounts of the main account. And it's the main accounts that you need to see, like, how much have we spent on utilities? How much have we spent on gasoline? How much have we spent on repairs, et cetera, et cetera. So that is something that we're working to get you.
And that'll be departmental wide?
Yeah.
Not, this is an overall gas, but a department?
Yes.
Okay, good, thank you. Go ahead, I'm sorry. Any further comment?
No, sir.
Councilor Ainsworth?
So I've been through, I see sometimes where we allot money and it's not being used. But it doesn't tell us where you're putting that back into. Maybe we could do that too. So is it going back into reserve for the department that, or is it going into a common reserve or?
I don't know about historically, but I know at the county, and I would suggest that we do that too. If it's not spent in that year, but it's allocated to a department, certain department, then council can approve that it go into their reserves for the spending of next year.
For that?
Pardon me? That's what, well, whatever our treasurer recommends, but that's what they normally do. Councilor Booth?
Through you, your worship, to Aaron. Thank you, Aaron, for this report. Especially for the executive summary. I like that bit where you've helped us by going through, but I would agree with the mayor. I'd actually like to see the budget line. So when you're talking about, you talked about booths and whatever, and you know, there was, let's say there was $5,000 in there. I'd like to actually see the budget line if we gave them five, what they've spent. And same for the capital budget, which is very important. There was a lot of capital items that we approved this year. And I'd like to be able to see the report that shows what we have spent from those capital things. So for example, I'll use the ball diamond upgrades where we had $20,000 for the ball diamonds. And we'd like to see, we gave them 20,000, have we spent anything? And then if not, then as Councilor Ainsworth said, is that, I guess, at the end of the year going to go back to ball diamonds next year, or is it going back to the pot? So otherwise, the executive summary is very nice. I like that part. Thank you.
If I can make a quick comment, maybe you're gonna agree, maybe you're not. When they give you that capital projects that did not get done, and you want to put back into reserves, that is on the list of the job that wasn't done, or a portion of the job that wasn't done. Is that true, Aaron? Thank you. Councilor O'Neill.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate mostly what's been said before, but I don't find I have enough information going into budget to know where we are from this year to be ready to make decisions about budget next year. And then capital operating right now, they're not pulled apart, but that's very useful to me as a counselor to have that and understand what our operating costs and what our capital costs. That would be appreciated.
And I think, if I can comment, I think that's what CAO was responding to yesterday or this afternoon, saying he didn't have a chance to call, get some help on it. So I think that will address that. Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Through you, Mayor Lobo. Again, I hear Keystone. Is this the operating system that's going to be able to bring us forward? I know I asked this before. All the other municipalities are using Great Plains. And I just wonder if we are getting maxed out with that, or just what Aaron's thoughts are.
Go ahead, Deputy, or not treasurer or acting treasurer, whatever.
Right at this point, actually, Great Plains is no longer going to be supported by Microsoft. So actually, Tony and everybody around us is now looking for new software. So at this current time, I would like to recommend changing. If we can piggyback on to the county or whatever they choose. It's kind of a waiting game right now to see how it filters through to the other municipalities around the area.
Is there any chance that they're gonna copycat us?
Probably not, as this is a very and but it does have the tax module and things that they do require. So that's the biggest issue with a lot of the accounting software is the
Thank you. Any other questions?
Just a follow-up. Thank you, Marilyn. Over to you, Aaron. Do you have a time frame now? I suppose this would be a budget item if we have to move to a different system, or is the county, have they put a timeline in place that they need to get this in place for?
As of the last meeting we had, they had no timeline, but they know it's of urgency and they were looking at a new provider. So this is being ramped up, but I don't know timelines of when they're going to start our.
Thank you.
Seeing no more questions? All in favor? That's carried. Next, we have 13-3 for a one new single axle cab and chassis truck purchase. That council authorized the mayor and the clerk to award RFP number T 022024, supply and delivery of one new single axle cab and chassis truck purchase be awarded to Lewis Motors Incorporated at a value of $329,989.76 plus HST. And that a bylaw be brought forward to for consideration to authorize the mayor and clerk to execute a purchase agreement with Lewis Motors Inc. for the supply and delivery of one new single axle cab and chassis truck. Are you gonna move in a second? Moved by Councillor Booth, second by Councillor Ainsworth. Are there any discussion? Go ahead, Councillor O'Neill.
I'm raising my concerns that we're not getting a lot of bids coming in for, a lot of what we're sending out, and I'm wondering if we need to be looking at that. How we are, and I'm sure it's not just us, I'm sure other municipalities, because when I was at Eastern Ontario thing, and I was saying, well, we're going to have a request for proposal, that was when Dan opened. And they're like, well, we don't do that. And I'm like, well, okay, but then that's not aligning with what we're doing. We're somehow looking for ways to have better alignment with what manufacturers and suppliers are doing and what we are doing as a municipality to make sure we're getting more bids in.
Are they getting more bids in? Because I didn't hear that from you. They're just not following
The suppliers who were there saying, oh, you guys supplied this, we've got a bid or a RFP, and they're like, that's not how we do ours. So anyway, that's how we do it here, but I think it's worthwhile to have that as a, sort of a goal to see to update our processes so they better align with what suppliers and manufacturers are doing now.
Thank you. Any other comments? All in favor? Motion's carried. Administrative reports, communications, motion to receive communications. It is recommended the Council of Corporation of the Township of Elmwood Haldimand enact as follows. The agenda items 15.2 to 15.5 and the November 12, 2024 regular council meeting agenda be received for information. 15.2 is the Northumberland Central Chamber of Commerce, the William Cross Award request. 15.3 MPP Petrini letter to municipalities regarding fire training. The letter from the Ministry of Energy and Electrifications. And the 15.5, which is Cornerstone Farm Family Violence Prevention Center, a wrapped in courage flag request. I get a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Booth or Councillor Ainsworth, seconded by Councillor Booth. I knew I was going to get it right. Any questions or comments on all four of them? Go ahead, Councillor Ainsworth.
So do we need to pick some of these, like say for area 15.2?
Yep.
For the William Cross Award?
We can do that. Yep. We're gonna do it today.
All right, thank
No.
you.
We have to decide.
So we can do it today or something.
Let's get it done. I thought I read it had to be done before the end of November.
So this award is for month under that's 40 years or younger.
Yep.
And I'd like to thank Daniel for shelter going front and golf course. She's now taking over the business from her mom. She's And Danielle was probably,
I didn't realize we were gonna get in. I thought we're not gonna get into the nuts and bolts because personally, I think we should have someone on council take this on and bring it back as a report.
for all four just.
No, for the 15-2.
Okay.
And I would suggest that my recommendation is that we, appoint Mary, pardon me, not Mary, Councilor O'Neill to look into this for us.
And why would you suggest that in this year? Because of the Parks Rec and Culture component?
No, that's the person, unless, that's my, if you have a different thought, then go ahead.
No, I just wondered if that's the avenue you were going.
No, not. Go ahead, Councilor Booth.
To your worship, just looking it over, because again, I don't see that there's a date in there, is there?
I thought it was November.
Well, it says when the actual meeting is, which is when they hand it out, which is in March, and then it talks about.
Up until Monday, December second.
Everything else is there, so.
Oh, yes, okay, sorry. So Monday, December the 2nd, we have to have it in.
Yes, please make a suggestion.
Through your Mayor Local, when I have been involved with these sorts of recommendations and requests in the past, we've always found it in the best interest, because you are discussing the merits of personal and identifiable individuals, that in this case, based on the timelines, you may wish to consider bringing this to a closed session meeting at the end of November, with council bringing their recommendations forward at that time for consideration and debate in the closed session. And then at that point, council can make a decision after having some time to think about who it is they would like to make a recommendation for. And at that point, you would still have time to meet the deadline for submission to the Chamber of Commerce. So I put that for your consideration.
Go ahead, Mike.
I just have one question. In the past, do the nominees have to have their bios in before that time also?
I don't.
Did they get picked? They would have a.
So they have to nominate them and they have to make their own bio, actually.
I don't know. I think they have to make, I'm pretty sure they have to make their own. We just pick them and then they make their own, the chamber contacts them and then they go from there. The only reason I say that, I'm pretty sure that's what happened with the DeJong award.
Okay.
So we've had a recommendation by the clerk that we, on the next council meeting during closed session, that we consider the names that are brought forth by members of council and debate and then pick a person. So, was that?
Yeah. That council be directed to provide names to the discussion.
Okay. So we're gonna have to make a decision then.
Yes.
Okay. So the recommendation is that we council bring those names to the clerk for our meeting. We'll discuss them and then we'll pick the person. That all agree with everyone? We have another motion. Okay, can I get a mover and a seconder for that? Moved by Councillor Booth, seconded by Councillor Ainsworth. All in favor? That's carried. 15-3 MPP Pacini, letter to municipalities regarding the fire training. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Booth, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stover. Any thoughts or discussions on what we should do?
Sorry.
I think it's just for information, is it not? Not asking for anything from that.
I'm gonna let the fire chief answer that question. You don't mind?
So now you're just into. So something just.
Okay. Does anybody want to support this?
Well, excuse me, I think it just asks whether or not, I guess it'd be David, fire chief, if we're gonna participate in the collaboration with the training, I guess that he's provided, right? I didn't think it asked us for, I could be wrong.
My impression of this is, and Dave knows a lot more than I do, but the MPP wants, the Northumberland County to build a training center. And he'd like all of the, member municipalities to help contribute towards that. And right now, some of us are using that. And some of them are going to different places. Is that a good summary? So we can either receive and file, but it's not gonna go away, I don't think. Go ahead, Mike.
I would just comment that we probably are using a few facilities somewhere already. Like say Norwood, is it still open?
So, back in 2022, we got started with the Northumberland County Fire Training. It had started a few years before that, but kind of fell prey during COVID. So there was two departments that got together to really start to kick things off and get things going, and that was Alderman and Hamilton Township, under the direction of Chief Robinson, at that time deputy. But what we ended up doing was putting things together. I assumed the treasurer's position, and Chief Robinson assumed the kind of the leadership role. And then we put it together, and we've had over the last 3 or 4 years, 25 to 30 students that we've put through the fire certification course program, and it's been very successful. Aldwick Haldeman was the first to obtain the OFM burn trailer that was brought down 2 years ago in Grafton, and a lot of the local fire departments rotated through it. Your main contributing fire departments that are involved in the county training here are Aldwick Township and Coburg. Port Hope has partaken a little bit, and the other municipalities have. Grammy has a little bit. Brighton and Trent Hills tend to go more to the RTCs, Brighton to Quinte because it's right next door, and Trent Hills to Norwood because it's right next door. The letter identifies the need for fire training. Really, it comes back to subject to discretion of the fire chief, and those that are looking for something like this. The fire training ground course is something that's a needed. There are approximately 450 firefighters in the county. But again, much like other things, there's no plan, and you need a plan. You need some direction and a sense of where it is that you're going. Right now, there really isn't, other than we work together. So whether a training facility ends up in the far east, whether it ends up in the far west, at this point is irrelevant for the plan. In 2020, there was a document created by Lumex. It was an efficiency report. In that document identifies all kinds of things that we could be doing as a county fire service, but we would need to have the fire chiefs come to the table to agree. So for right now, we are doing the very best that we can. Aldwick Haldeman, when it has rented out the ACC or Centerton here, has received funds for the rental. So Aldwick Haldeman has benefited from them being around. We built a RIT, a condo unit, as we call it, in the old fire station in Roseneath. And we've been putting together some very good things to do for training. Hamilton has done some very good AutoX training up in Harwood. So again, respectfully to the minister wants to give us some money. But really we need to figure out where the foundation blocks belong before we head in that direction.
Well, my question would be, is there a lead in the Northumberland County Fire Group?
So the Firefighters Association, the Fire Chiefs Association is led by a president and vice president. The president currently right now is Chief Robinson. We have a county coordinator in the event that there's an emergency and we need mutual aid, then the county coordinator steps in and helps coordinate some of those initiatives. So that is really where that heads up. With respect to Northumberland County as a staffing model, there is no one that is in charge or in the lead of fire service. Or anything to do with fire service.
So your recommendation would be to receive and file?
Yes.
Okay.
All in favor? Motion's carried. We have the letter from the Minister of Energy and Electrification. Anybody want to discuss this or receive and file? Okay. Okay. We've already done the receive and file. Is there anybody that wants to support this? Seeing none, we'll move on to Cornerstone Family Violence Prevention Center wrapped in courage flag request. Can I get a move in a second? Moved by Deputy Mayor Stover, second by Councilor Ainsworth. Discussion. Deputy Mayor.
Through you, Mayor Lobo, we do that. Do we have the flag here on at AH somewhere, or are we needing a flag? And the other part of that is the discussion where a flagpole was turned down for the municipal office. So I'm just wondering logistically, with 2 flagpoles there, I believe, and can they be used like putting other flags on?
Yeah, so we probably should get a mover in a second for this before we got that. Yeah, go ahead, clerk, deputy clerk.
So through you, Mr. Mayor, we did have a mover and a seconder, but there was no motion put forward. So I just wanted to get clarity if that was to move and second in support of Cornerstone's request to raise the flag.
Oh, okay, so you want to support. Any questions and comments?
Well, the other thing was that, is it, legal, I guess, or proper protocol to be using the flagpoles that we are having and putting other flags on it? And I just don't know logistically how that, if we're following protocol for that.
Madam Clerk?
So through you, Mayor Logal, yes, we are permitted to raise the flags and lower the flags as the township sees fits and how council directs staff. So in this case, we would have to do them in order of precedence, which means the provincial flag out front of the municipal office would be the one to be lowered in support of the Cornerstone flag. And to answer your other question, yes, we do have this flag currently in stock from previous years.
Okay.
Any further questions? All in favor? Motion's carried. We're moving on to bylaws. The first one is 16-1, bylaw 78-2024 to impose fees and charges for services and activities in 2025. That bylaw 78-2024 to impose fees and charges for services and activities in 2025 be given a first, second, and third reading and finally pass this 12th day of November 2024. Can I get a move in a second? Moved by Councillor Booth, second by Councillor Ainsworth. Any discussion? All in favor? That motion is carried. 16-2, bylaw 79-2024 to provide for the erection of a stop sign on Stewart Road. That bylaw number 79-2024 being a bylaw to provide for the erection of a stop sign at Stewart Road be given a first, second, and third reading and finally pass this 12th day of November 2024. Mover and seconder. Moved by Councillor Booth, second by Councillor O'Neill. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion's carried. Next one is bylaw 80-2024. Execute an agreement for the purchase of one new single axle cab and chassis truck. That bylaw 80-2024 being a bylaw to execute an agreement with Lewis Motors for the purchase of one new single axle cab and chassis truck. Be given a first, second, and third reading and finally pass this 12th day of November 2024. Mover to second. Moved by Deputy Mayor Stover. Seconded by Councillor Booth. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion's carried. 16.4 has been, no sense in talking about it because has been deferred. That's what I thought. Right?
Yeah.
A confirmatory bylaw number 82-2024, confirming bylaw. The bylaw 82-2024 being a bylaw to adopt the proceedings of the regular council meeting held on the 12th day of November 2024, and to authorize its execution be given a first, second, and third reading and finally pass this 12th day of November 2024. Mover and second. Moved by Deputy Mayor Stover. Second by Councillor O'Neill. All in favor? Motion's carried. And the final one is a motion to adjourn that the regular council meeting held on November 12th, 2024 be adjourned at 3:30 p.m. Mover and seconder. Moved by Councillor Booth, seconded by Councillor Ainsworth. All in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you.